Hello and welcome to this Rapaport webinar. And thanks everyone for joining us. Today we are going to be talking about grading diamond cut. It's a known fact that the GIA triple X grading score has moved from being a target to being a basic standard in the diamond industry. So when GCal launched 8X in 2021, aiming to identify the best of the best diamonds, it caught the industry's attention. GCal, now GCal by Serene, expanded the cut to fancy and proprietary shapes, but the diamond well still operates mostly according to that GIA standard of excellent cut, polish, and symmetry. So I have a lot of questions for all the guests, and I hope you in the audience will also have questions. Before I introduce each guest, let me just say that this episode of the Rapaport webinar is sponsored by GCal by Serene, a leader in guaranteed diamond grading and advanced cut quality evaluation. GCal combines ISO accredited laboratory standards with Serene's innovative technologies to deliver consistent science-based certification that retailers and consumers can trust. So to our guests, Angelo Palmieri, president of GCal by Serene, is a driving force behind GCal's innovation in diamond grading, including the development of GCal's 8X standard for round and fancy shapes. He has more than 20 years experience in laboratory operations. Paul Casarino is president of the Gem Lab, a jewelry retailer in Rochester, New York. And Randy Cole is president of the Diamond Vault of Troy, also a jewelry retailer in Troy, Michigan. Welcome to all of you. As I said, we want to answer your questions, so please post them in the Q&A section and not in the chat. If you post them in the chat, we won't see them, so please put them in the Q&A section. We are going to start with a short presentation from Angelo. So welcome, Angelo, and take it away.
Very much. Thank you very much, Josh. Let me just share my screen and we will get started. All right. So thank you, Josh, for the great introduction. Thank you, Randy and Paul, for joining us today. And thanks all of you for joining today's webinar. As you look at the 8 diamonds on the screen, you'll see that we have diamonds of similar shape, similar size, similar color, similar clarity. But there's something that makes the bottom row so much more appealing, and that is simply its cut. And the great thing about cut is that you never have to convince anyone to want a better one. They already do. The challenge has always been, how do I reliably find and stock those exceptionally cut diamonds? And that's exactly what GCal 8X is built for. Just a brief background, we are GCal by Serene, as Josh mentioned. We have laboratories and offices in New York, Ramat Gan, Mumbai, Surat, and Hong Kong. We are the only lab that offers a guaranteed 4Cs grading certificate, backed by our ISO 17025 accreditation and GemPrint. And we've spent 25 years measuring diamonds for light performance and optical precision and grading cut across all shapes for over a decade. We grade both natural and lab-grown diamonds, and we offer a range of certificate formats to fit our different customers' needs. And we've always prioritized the digital experience for the end consumer. While cut used to be more evenly distributed, as Josh mentioned, in the market today, almost every diamond is graded excellent. And the scale is so wide that 2 diamonds can both be graded excellent, but look totally different. Some are stunners, and some are totally dead stones, totally asleep. And it's even more frustrating when it comes to fancy shapes, where most of the time cut isn't actually graded at all. Table and depth alone can't tell you if the center is going to leak light, or if that stone is going to have a massive bow tie, or if that shape outline is really that perfect, graceful curves that you want. And that's why 8X was created. 8X doesn't replace the old cut scale. It sits above it, and only the top 1% make it, the elite performers. That's what 8X is, elite performers. And this 8X grade wasn't dreamt in a marketing meeting. It was derived from analyzing over 1 million real diamonds for how they actually handle light. And we're measuring what matters most when you look at a diamond in real life: brilliance, fire, sparkle, optical symmetry, precision, the actual stone imagery for fancy shapes, how balanced and beautiful that shape really is with minimal light blockage like a bow tie. For our 8X newcomers in the audience, 8X is simply an independent, verifiable performance cut grade that is above ideal, and it proves what your eyes actually see. 8X means the diamond earned excellent in every performance category that can be used to evaluate a diamond's cut: polish, physical symmetry, proportions. But then we go beyond that, and we're measuring light performance, brilliance, fire, and scintillation. And we go beyond that to measure the optical precision and aesthetics that are unique and important to each shape. And the 8X certificate is packed with only real photos and videos of the actual stone that you're showing to your customer, fully analyzed, fingerprinted, and presented in a guaranteed certificate. And why this matters to you. What does 8X give you in your store? What advantage does it give you? First, whether it's a natural or lab-grown diamond, we provide full grading, guaranteed grading that you can believe and trust. We give you visual proof that this diamond is of elite quality. It provides a story that you can build margin around, and it gives you the confidence to order sight unseen. You know, even as Josh alluded to, excellent has kind of become average, the standard. And sameness is kryptonite in a luxury sale. When 8 or 9 out of 10 stones all come in excellent, there's a tendency to think they're all the same. But you know they're not. The manufacturers know they're not the same, and your customers' eyes will know they're not the same. 8X gives you the opportunity to differentiate and stand out from the rest. 8X is also the perfect upsell for the customer who says, I want something really special. I want the best. Or I love this size, but is this enough? Or what else do you have? 8X becomes that perfect alternative, that perfect upsell and premium sale for you. One of the other things 8X does is it allows you to buy sight unseen. Have you ever ordered a stone based on finish grades in an image or video, taken in who knows what type of lighting, and then it arrives and it's not quite what you were expecting? The outline is a little bit off. The color is a little bit lower than you expected. Ultimately, it's not what you want to deliver to your customer. And 8X is a way to filter out that white noise. It gives you the confidence to know that what's going to come in that box the next day from your favorite 8X supplier is exactly what you want to deliver to your customer. I would encourage you all to go to the GCal USA website, click on the 8X section. You can see the exact cut parameters. We detail every different supported shape that we offer. You can browse our video library for past webinars, for educational content, interviews with our executives. We also back you with share-ready sales guides, brochures, team training handouts, and of course, we have videos that you can use in your store like this one.
How do you know when you found a perfectly cut diamond? It's an 8X. The GCal 8X. The ultimate in diamond cut grade. If you can't prove a diamond is perfectly cut, it's probably not. Request GCal. GCal ATEX.
So now let's see how does ADEX actually live in the store. At the counter, the associate can have the customer scan the QR code. Customer opens that digital ADEX certificate and sees the actual diamond they're holding in their hands, rotating, performing, and sparkling. They can download the certificate right to their phone. And if they leave the store and they're still thinking, you can easily text them the link to the GCal ADEX verification page, and they walk home with the diamond they actually held in their hands, and they can refresh their memory of what they actually saw in your store. Currently, GCal ADEX supports 6 shapes: round, oval, princess, marquee, pear, and radiant. I think everybody will be happy to know that the next shape that will be released will be the standards for elongated cushion, and our team is very hard at work in finalizing those standards. The good news is that I am done talking for the moment. The even better news is that you're going to hear from 2 gentlemen who are actually putting ADEX into action on the front lines. So I'm very happy for you to meet 2 retailers who are doing this in the real world every day and are turning precision into profit in their stores.
Angelo, thank you very much. And before I move on to some questions for Paul and Randy, I just want to remind everyone to post any of your own questions in the Q&A section. To begin with, maybe we'll start with you, Paul. How long have you been using GCal ATEX for?
Since its introduction, I've been a fan of ideal cutting for many, many years. Used the AGS lab reports, the platinum quality document for many, many years. And when GCal became available to give me even more factual data to share with my customers, it was a no-brainer for me.
Right. How did it work in practice? I mean, what results did you see from it that made you realize that it was improving things for you?
Well, Rochester is a very technical town. We've got a lot of engineers with the likes of Xerox and Kodak and GM and Bausch and Lomb, a lot of engineers in this community. So I get a lot of customers seeking out the expertise of a gemologist to help them understand the purchase. I focus so much in my introductions to customers about the aspects of diamond beauty that they can actually perceive. Elements like color and clarity have a very significant impact on the rarity of the diamond, thus its cost, but have, for all intents and purposes, no impact on the diamond's beauty in my mind. I find the cut of the diamond to be much more important. So I focus a lot on that. The GCal report gives me facts and figures that it's not just me telling them that the diamond is beautiful and it's my opinion. I could actually point to measurements and actual pictures and data that prove that this stone is judged as perfect as it is.
I want to hear more about Rochester being a technical city. You're saying that everyone takes their diamonds to a gemologist to ask the opinion of a gemologist before making a purchase.
Well, I get a lot of customers that come to see me who have sought me out because of my gemological expertise. There's not a lot of gemologists in Rochester, though we do have a few, but we've made our reputation on helping people understand the actual purchase that they're making from a technical standpoint. I'm not one to really romance the stone. I'm not. That's not my way of helping a customer. My way of helping the customer is making them very well informed. And what I do often tell them is no one's ever come back to me and said, gee, Paul, this diamond, it's too brilliant. Give me something bigger but less brilliant. That never happens. The beauty of the diamond is something that's appreciated every single day. You don't need to be in a grading environment or a lab to see it. And if it's a GCal 8X, I know that wherever they look at it, it's going to be an absolutely stunning stone.
Great, Randy. Thank you for joining us. I'd like to hear how the consumers over in Troy have been receiving ATEX. What are they saying?
Oh, they love it. I mean, it really has solved the biggest problem that we've had in the industry here, that everybody comes in and asks for triple X stone. And I ask them and say, what does that mean? I mean, when you explain that it's driven by 8 subcategories, just get rid of the 3 X's. That's what GCal did. And when we show them the grading report and they shoot the QR code, they have that on their phone, like Angela said, when they leave the store. They're thinking about us. And here in Oakland County, it's the richest county in Michigan and in the top 10 in the United States. We have a lot of engineers, doctors, lawyers. And one of my friends has a store, asked me one time, what's your client base? I said, my typical client is a person who's seeking knowledge to understand truth. Well, truth is 8X. There's nothing better than 8X. So if you want performance, you have to pay attention to everything that GCal has done. That diamond that they're wearing is a beacon of my business. When people look at it and they go, oh my heavens, that thing shines like crazy. Where'd you get it? I'm going to get business. So thank you, GCal.
Thank you, Randy.
What do consumers come into your store knowing about cut? I mean, and how do they know about it, Randy?
Well, most don't. Most look at color and clarity, and they're looking at whether it's very good, excellent. We're education-based. We sit with every client for probably about 30 minutes before they even see diamonds, because how do I talk to them if they don't understand the language that I'm talking? So when we get into the details, confidence is gained by knowledge. So the more you teach them, the better off you're going to be. Because when they go and hear something contrary to what you've told them at the store, they're coming back to see you.
Do they know the term triple X when they come into the store?
A lot of people are searching. Not many people come in asking for 8X flat out. It's our responsibility. It goes beyond that. It's my obligation to tell that person everything they need to know about a diamond so that they can make the purchase that they want. Now, if they want to get a more promotional diamond and natural, hats off to them. But if they're looking for something that's really performance-based, then the 8X does convert that sale.
And Randy, how do you market 8X?
Well, we have it on our website. We're really driven by a lot of referrals. On the outside of my store, I have a Duratrans. As soon as it was available, it went up on the outside of my store. We're very active in 8X. I was a believer from the very beginning.
Thanks for that, Randy. I am going to go to the Q&A quickly because we've got a few questions that came in. Okay. The first one, I think I know the answer to this myself, but I'm going to let you, Angelo, answer it anyway. Okay. From an anonymous attendee, does GCal give a global note to summarize all the parameters?
Did you say a global note? Is that what you asked?
Yeah, I think they just mean have you published the parameters somewhere?
So on our website, gcalusa.com, we list every parameter for every shape that we support. So it's all up there in public on the website. Even further than that, something I didn't talk about on the presentation, but I think Randy and Paul know. Of course, we have 8X suppliers that are actively cutting, but we support all of them with manufacturing review before the stone even leaves the factory to help them basically perfect the cut. And as we launch each new shape, there's always a learning curve of how to achieve it. So we not only publish the standards publicly for anybody to have, but then we work very closely with every manufacturer to help them achieve 8X. And that's a really important aspect of it.
Great. Very well. Moving back to you, Paul. I was told in advance of this that you've described using GCal as being printing money. Can you expand on that?
Well, I told Angela one time that it almost seemed unfair to the other labs when I bring out a GCal report and show it next to any other report. There was like, take those others away. And I don't want to see that. I very often use. I'm going to share something with you. Something like this: two GIA triple X diamonds with obviously different appearances. And even when you look at the numbers side by side, the table percentages, the depth percentages, the crown angles, customers will often ask, how can these both be the top of the scale? And if they were at the top of the scale, wouldn't they look the same? So that's very often a very useful thing for me. And when I have that GCal report, number one, the parameters are so narrow that all the stones that we're looking at look the same, but then I've got facts and figures to back it up that I don't have on reports from other laboratories. The image on the right there of color is a demonstration that I've used for many years, showing roughly carat-sized diamonds from E to L color all face up. They really don't look that different. But the difference in the beauty I can demonstrate to my customer is how the stone is cut. And the GCal report, especially the 8X report, allows me to defend that more easily than any other report I've ever worked with.
And can you, Paul, can you quantify? I mean, would you be able to say that being able to sell a more specific cut grade has increased your sales by a certain amount?
I would say that I can say with confidence that I've never presented a GCal 8X stone where a customer has chosen not to buy an 8X stone. It may have been outside their budget and they got a smaller one, but I've never had someone say, I want less brilliance. That's what my customer is typically looking for. I don't get the casual customer. We're not located in a mall or anything like that. I'm actually a mile south of a large regional mall. So I get the customer I get is someone who's seeking out expertise. They want knowledge. A well-informed consumer is your best customer. The more knowledge you can give them, the better. They can make a much more confident decision. So that's what I find is that once they know that parameter exists for defining the beauty of the diamond, what she is going to see, what all her friends are going to see every single day for the rest of their life, that's where they want to be. And GCal 8X allows me to defend that.
Very interesting. And thank you to all of you who are sending in questions. We've got an interesting one here from Glenn Markman, which I think is also a question for Angelo. Is there a list of manufacturers who supply natural diamonds cut to 8X?
Yes, there is. Hello, Glenn. Good to hear from you. We do have a list of manufacturers that are cut in natural 8X, and for the most part today in natural, manufacturers are cut into order, just with how much the natural market has changed. But I'm happy to provide that list to you, Glenn.
Angelo, is there a risk that if 8X is too successful, then it could itself become a standard that to which all diamonds would reach?
Right. Well, first of all, that would be a great problem to have, Josh. Number one. Number two, I think that it doesn't run the same risk that you have with others, right? 8X is not a participation trophy. 8X is something that only elite manufacturers can attain. So if the technology got to the point where everybody is cutting it, would I feel bad that everybody is getting an exceptionally cut diamond that's a stunner? I mean, that would be a great thing if every diamond looked incredible. So number one, I don't think it would get there that 100% of diamonds are cut to 8X. But I think it would be a great thing, and we're never going to change the standards to make it softer. That was the whole point of 8X is, as Paul alluded to, our angles and measurements are so tight, it controls that output that we want, right? We all want that optimal combination of brilliance, fire, and scintillation. And to do that, you have to tightly control this parameter set. And so that's not going to change. So if everybody continues to cut that way, there's no way it can get watered down. There's just a lot more exceptionally cut diamonds in the market, and I think that's a wonderful thing.
Great. We've got a question here. In fact, before I present this question, I'm going to ask one of my own
Sure.
questions on this to you, Angelo, which is how much of what proportion of ATEX grades are given to natural diamonds and what proportion to lab-grown diamonds?
Yeah. So great question, one we get a lot. Definitely the majority of ADEX certificates are issued in lab grown today. We have a number of customers that are selling and buying natural ADEX. As I kind of alluded to in the previous question, the natural market is going through a lot of changes. There's a lot of fluctuations, a lot of uncertainty. So most of the time, these stones are being cut to order, right? So if Paul or Randy says, "Hey, I need 10 1-carat round natural 8Xs in FG VS quality," they can get it. There are manufacturers that support it. But with how much uncertainty there is in the natural market today, I think it's hard for them to stock it, right? I think we're hearing people aren't stocking a lot in natural really because of the different fluctuations. So there's no question that it's more in lab grown. There's obvious reasons for that with lower prices of material. Yield is less important. It's still important, of course, in lab grown. But I think we're seeing natural ADEX programs growing and growing, and we want it to be successful in both.
As I mentioned, a question from Hasna Yahia. Lab-grown diamonds, I think I can probably answer this one myself, but I'll still pass this on to Angelo. Lab-grown diamonds are graded either standard or premium. I think he's referring to the GAA
Sure.
Grading terminology for lab-grown. Does the 8X fall into the premium category?
The 8X is way above the premium category. 8X is its own category, as I shared on the screen, right? This really sits above any other cut standard that exists in the marketplace. And at GCAL, whether we're grading natural or lab-grown diamonds, just as Paul and Randy have talked about with their customers, our opinion is that the consumer deserves full information no matter what product they're buying. So we continue to grade both products the same, give full details. Really, it's for Randy and Paul and retailers to help guide the customers as to what product is best for them based on budget, based on a number of different things. But our job as a laboratory is to provide full, complete, transparent, accurate information so that the consumer and the retailer can jointly make the best decision for that person, for that individual.
Great. Randy, we've spoken about convincing the consumer, but what about convincing the members of your staff? How easy is it being communicating ATEX to sales associates?
Well, I started my career with diamond cutters, so I learned from transforming the rough into finish. So they're really roots oriented as well. So for them, it's easy. It's you pull out an 8X and you pull out a different stone from IGI. It's just they're sitting side by side. The customer goes, I don't want that. I'll take this one. It really makes it easy for the customer to understand. I mean, from the minute Angelo, because I go back to Gemprint way back to 2015 when I got the Gemprint. Once they announced the 8X, I was all in. At JCK, I went to one vendor who had naturals, and I bought almost 80% of the naturals they had in 8X because it was that important. And it is performance based. The customers see it.
Right. And we touched a little bit on fancy shapes, which are obviously very much harder to judge the cutoff than round brilliance. How has ATEX helped you sell fancies?
Well, one of the natural diamond cutters when I was at JCK, when they had just announced the parameters for the oval 8X, I commissioned them to cut the first natural, and I have a plaque on my wall from Angelo and the team. We sold the very first natural 8X oval in the United States. It's just easy. The guy says, it's a little smaller. I said, yeah, but it looks bigger and it looks brighter and everything else. He goes, 100%. So, you have to be all in. I have friends that say, I want to increase my business. Well, if you want to increase your business, you have to offer something for the people who are walking away. If you don't have the elite, the top of the top, then you're not going to sell those people who want the best of the best. You can increase your business probably 5-10% by just offering 8X as a solution, because your normal stock isn't going to satisfy their need. That's where we've seen the increases.
Okay, good to hear. Paul.
Joshua, I've used the 8X report to transform how I buy off the street. I've been buying goods off the street and recutting for decades. But I found once the 8X report was available to me, stones in the KLM color range, I1 or I2, that I normally would have no interest in, I'm actively seeking out, because I can recut those to GCal 8X, and they look stunning, and they're very, very affordable for customers. So I use that report not just in sourcing new goods, but the goods that I buy off the street and remarket.
Interesting.
We've done the same.
Question from Steph Juarez. How long does it take to grade an 8X stone versus a non-8X stone?
Yeah.
Angelo.
Yeah, so it's a great question. It takes us a lot longer, because there are so many steps, and we kind of view them as gates, right? So the stones can only pass to the next station, the next gate, if they've made it through that first step. And I think you saw in the digital report that we showed on the screen, and all the different assets and images and videos we take, it takes us exponentially longer to produce an 8X certificate in the lab. But as we talk about often, we think if it's our obligation as a lab, if we're going to say that stone has excellent brilliance, or that stone has excellent fire, or that stone has excellent scintillation, we have a video or a photo of that actual diamond that proves that actual thing we're saying. And that makes the job for Paul and Randy that much easier, right? They have that, they can easily demonstrate this elite quality. And for the consumer to be able to see it, not just to see a graph, on a page that has 4 scores, we're actually showcasing, we're giving you a look into this diamond that you would never otherwise see, to prove to you that this is exceptional quality. So it does take longer.
Right. That makes sense. Paul or Randy, I wanted to know if you've ever got into conversations with other people in the industry where they disagreed with you, where they said, no, Triple X should remain the standard. Have you ever been in a debate with anyone about it? And how did it end up?
I spoke with a guy in Texas one time that grading was simply not important to him. He just wanted to get his customers wanted the biggest stone they could get for the dollar. That was his community, and that's all he focused on: low quality and very, very large size. I'd never encountered that before.
Right. What about you, Randy?
Well, for us, when you're talking, like I use a race car analogy. Why does a pit crew work on a race car just to get a quarter horsepower extra out of the engine so they can win by a bumper? But GCal isn't winning by a bumper; they're winning by 20 car lengths. It's completely different. It makes it, if you're education based and not emotion based in selling, it's an easy sell. You don't talk about how much it sparkles and everything else. You show them through the QR code, the video online of the scintillation factor and the fire and the actual video of the stone, and they share that with their family. Those family members will help influence the sale. They're helping you sell that stone because it's so beautiful.
And Paul, I'm just thinking, what did you say to the person who said that the priority was size over quality? How would you respond to them?
I explained to them that I've never had someone come back to me requesting a larger, less brilliant stone. The brilliance of the stone is what everybody appreciates. When someone says to a young lady, "Your diamond is beautiful," They are not saying anything about the clarity of the diamond or the color grade of the diamond, somewhat the size of the diamond. What they're commenting on is the sparkle of the diamond, the beauty of the diamond. And that's something that is far more important to me than any other attribute that we measure diamonds about.
Very well. Thank you, Paul. And just a reminder to everyone to post questions in the Q&A, please. Angelo, I wanted to ask myself
Sure.
to what extent you use AI in ATEX.
Yeah, so we use AI in two distinct ways in the 8X process. Of course, you know, Joshua, that we partnered with Serene Technologies about 3 years ago, and so we've incorporated their AI technology on color and clarity grading into our lab process. So every stone that passes through the GCAL labs in New York and Surat is being graded by AI as a part of our process. So that's at the core. But we also use AI for grading and classifying some of these other aspects. So whether it's the optical symmetry grades or the hearts and arrows grade, or the lack of or presence of a bow tie in some of these elongated fancies, AI and machine vision are helping us to classify and grade this. So we're working on massive data sets that we talked about, and of course it's a part of creating the standards for the next shape. I mean, there is a tremendous amount of research that goes into what are the final published parameters for every shape. And so we're utilizing AI in a number of different ways.
So, Angelo, a question for you. I I know that you have maybe technical arguments about the advantages of 8X, but the fact is that branding is still very important, and there's one major lab that still has a very dominant brand. How hard is it to break the control of the large labs and all their established systems?
Sure. Look, it's a daily mission for GCAL for the 25 years. We're going to be celebrating our 25th anniversary next year. But I think it's not really about breaking control, Josh. I think it's more about reframing that dominance or that control as insufficient or incomplete, right? The 8X lives so far above and beyond the standards that are out there that really you're not offering your customer the maximum that you can. You're not offering your customer the best if you're not utilizing GCAL 8X as part of your process. So can we break control? No, I think we can reframe it as there's a better way, and GCAL has that better way.
Very well. We have an anonymous comment. Maybe De Beers should cut desert diamonds, which are lower color and clarity in ATEX. There we go. There's a suggestion.
That sounds like that would fit well with Paul's strategy.
Very good. Okay. I actually wanted to ask. We touched on it before: lab grown versus natural, and also the question of yield, which you also mentioned, Angelo. How does cutting for ATEX, manufacturing to get the ATEX grade affect yield? Is it something that is a safer option for lab grown? How can you maybe expand a little bit more on that, please?
Yeah, I mean, there is no question that cutting in 8X, whether you're talking about lab grown or natural, is going to impact yield, right? It also takes more time to cut. If you've ever spoken to a manufacturer that cuts 8X, the times will range, but in some cases, it might take 2, 3, 4 times more to cut an 8X than a standard triple X. And it's going to cost more, right? Because there's more labor. But as we think about, and these two gentlemen have lived both in the natural and lab grown side, costing more in luxury is not a bad thing. That's actually the path of luxury, right? And the industry we're in is luxury. Randy alluded to a car analogy, but when somebody is looking at a Ferrari, you know that it took more time, right? It's going to be engineered to the nth degree. It's going to cost more, but you're buying that performance, right? And so, yes, 8X costs more to cut. It takes more time to cut. It costs more to certify. but ultimately that end product, because of the way the standards are crafted, because it only allows the elite stones to make it, that end product is worth it. And I think what Paul and Randy and so many other retailers have found is that this allows them to differentiate their offering. And in the market and how competitive it is, Randy talked about his county being, one of the 10 wealthiest counties in the country. He has intense competition. I'm sure Paul does too. And so you have to set yourself apart. And I think when you look at all walks of life, whether it's cars, electronics, fashion, clothing, or jewelry, there's always premium brands. There's always luxury type upsells. And that's what 8X is. And 8X gives an opportunity for everybody in the value chain to make more money. And they should, because it takes more work, it takes more time, but it becomes a great way to both differentiate, upsell, and give your customers a better product. I mean, it is a win-win-win across the board.
Are you seeing any natural diamond manufacturers turned off 8X because of the impact of yield, or at least to a greater extent than in lab grown?
Look, I think that yes, of course that matters, right? And we see with our, let's say, with our partnership with Serene and some of the great technology that they bring to bear in the cut-in side, right? And between their Galaxy and their Advisor and MVP solutions, right? What is the point of all of this technology that Serene produces and sells into the market? It is to get 1/100th more, of a carat on that diamond, 1/10th of a carat more on that diamond, right? Everything that Serene does is to optimize and improve the yield of a stone. So of course, everybody is focused on yield, right? We also all know that yield is not only a direct result of your final carat size. Yield is a direct result of your final carat size combined with color and clarity and cut. And so I think that when we look at Paul and Randy and many other retailers, manufacturers are willing to cut anything you want, right? I mean, that's just a fact. They will cut anything you tell them, as long as you're going to order from them, right? And so when we think about this, what we need is more retailers understanding that they want to deliver a better product to their customer. And if retailers go to these manufacturers and say, I want a natural 8X, Joshua, how many manufacturers that have the capability you think are going to say, you know what, Paul, Randy, I'm not interested in selling you this elite cut diamond. They're going to manufacture it because the retailers move the market. Retailers dictate the market. And so it's an ongoing thing. And we're seeing a lot of uptake in natural 8X. But it takes time, and it takes manufacturers to tweak their processes. So this is a constant this is a constant back and forth, and it's always chicken and egg. With the more manufacturers that create it, the more supply there is in the market, the easier it is for retailers to access, and vice versa. So we're pleased with the direction it's going in natural. It's just taking a little bit more time than lab grown.
All right. Well, before we finish, Angelo, can you tell me, it's been, I think, am I right? It's been about 2 years since that Serene deal. How has GCal changed since that partnership?
Well, obviously, both companies went into the partnership with things that we really wanted, right? We really wanted access to Serene's AI grading technology. And because of that technology being in place, it allowed us, for the first time in GCal's history, to open a second lab, right? We had one lab in New York for 23 years, and we were hesitant to open that second lab because we didn't know if we could deliver that consistency, accurate grading that GCal is known for. And so Serene's AI technology allowed us to open a Surat lab almost 2 years ago. So that's a huge change. We now have a laboratory in Surat. Obviously, on the natural side, Serene's Diamond Journey traceability is a game changer. And everything that they're doing to continue to promote that, we spent a lot of time on cut today, but when you talk about traceability and provenance, whether it's legal compliance with sanctions or it's just people want to know where the products they're buying come from, traceability is a massive thing. So we're incorporating traceability into our GCal natural certificates. So for us, this is about an expansion and adoption of new technology. And ultimately, everything that we do, whether it's a light performance system or it's an imaging system, or it's now AI grading, or it's traceability, we want to give the customer, whether that's Paul and Randy or their customers, more information, better information, so that they can make the most informed purchase of one of the most significant things they're going to purchase in their life, right? The diamond engagement ring is not only an investment of money, but it is a symbol of the love and the passion that they have for their partner. And so we believe the more that we can offer them, the more information we can provide to them, the better off they are in making a great decision.
Has that Surat lab been a benefit to you during the tariffs?
It's a great question, and it definitely has. I mean, obviously, as you know, tariffs have created a number of challenges in the supply chain. I think what's interesting over the last 7 to 8 months, based on all of these kind of moving dates of it's going to increase to this, oh no, it's going to be, pause. So we've actually seen, and I'm sure you've seen it, Joshua, and you've reported on it, the amount of diamonds that have moved from India to New York before certain deadlines. I know that Rapaport has reported on that. And so we've actually seen over the last 7 months times when New York is inundated with submissions because everybody brought stuff to the country before they had an order. So then the stones had to be certified here. Now we're seeing a lot more being certified in the India lab. Obviously, everybody has a legal tariff mitigation strategy in place today. A lot of that involves casting in the US and mounting overseas. So in that case, being able to certify the diamonds loose in Surat has been a huge benefit. But I would just say that obviously the tariffs have created a lot of supply challenges. And I think it's going to be interesting to see if any of that rears its head in Christmas results this year. But it sounds like both from majors and independents, everybody's navigated it and figured a way. But yeah, definitely being on both sides of the ocean has helped tremendously in a tariff world.
What's the procedure when an Indian manufacturer wants to send a diamond to GCAL in New York for grading under
So
tariffs?
if it's coming here, I mean, most of the time that's going to go to our Surat lab. But we have many examples of, I would say a better example would be it coming from India, but then going to a third country, right? Maybe it's going to Australia, or it's going to Singapore, or it's going to Europe, but it's being certified here. We use temporary import bonds for those shipments. So as long as those stones are not staying here for sale, post certification, they're immediately exported to the third country. And we can do the same thing, India, New York, India. But we utilize it a lot more for different three country, involvements.
Very well, thank you. Well, Randy and Paul, it's December the 3rd, so I can't not ask how the holiday season's going. Uh, Maybe we'll start with you, Randy. How are things looking so far?
It's going great. We're basically an engagement ring house. We do about 90% engagement rings. So it's a gift that keeps on giving every day of the year. But we're hopeful. Gold prices are scaring people a little bit, but we can tighten our margins on the gold. We're making margins on lab and natural diamonds. So I think it's going to end up a very strong season for us. There's a lot of hopefulness here in the Detroit area.
And Paul in Rochester, New York.
Doing very well. I've got 6 goldsmiths at the bench. We specialize in a lot of jewelry repair, antique jewelry restoration, as well as the custom work. So in my showroom right now, I'm looking through the window. There's 15 people out there right now. So things are very good, and I'm anticipating another record year.
That's great.
Great. Well, best of luck. And I'd like to thank, firstly, the three of you for participating in this, and also all of you in the audience who sent in your excellent questions. Angela, I think you had a few closing things you wanted to say.
I mean, I think you got a lot of it out of me in the Q&A. I would mostly like to thank you, Joshua, for hosting, and the Rapaport team in preparation for this. Paul and Randy, I can't thank you guys enough, not only for the support of GCal and GCal 8X, but even more importantly, spending over an hour with us in December on a weekday when you should be on the showroom floor kicking butt. So, guys, your support and your time is the appreciation is beyond words. Really, we're so thankful for you guys. For the audience, I hope you guys have a great holiday season. As you guys alluded to, gold, tariffs, all these different kind of impacts, but I think this industry has shown that it is resilient. From the GCal team, just understand that our mission every day is to provide accurate, consistent, transparent information with full grading and full details so that you and your customers can make the most informed, best decisions about one of the most significant purchases that people are going to make in their lifetimes. So with that, I thank you. And Joshua, I look forward to seeing you soon.
Likewise, thanks, Angelo, Randy, and Paul. And just reminder, this episode of Rapaport webinar was sponsored by GCal by Serene, a leader in guaranteed diamond trading and advanced cut quality evolution. GCal combines ISO accredited laboratory standards with Serene's innovative technologies to deliver consistent science-based certification that retailers and consumers can trust. Thanks to all of you and to the audience.